All right, let's talk about something that sounds almost like science fiction, but it's very, very real. We're going to explore the incredible power of sound to actually change our internal state, how simply listening can help our bodies move from being stuck in stress to feeling safe and calm. You know that feeling, right? Where your shoulders are up by your ears, your mind just won't shut off, and you feel, well, you just feel wound up. It's like your internal alarm system is stuck in the on position, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to find the switch. And look, if you feel this way, you are absolutely not alone. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, a staggering 1 in 5 adults in the US deals with mental illness every single year. That just shows you how huge this challenge is and why we need to be looking at all the tools we can get. Now, traditionally, a lot of approaches to mental wellness are top-down. That means you start with your conscious thoughts to try and change how you feel. Think about talk therapy. But there's another really powerful way to come at this: bottom up. This is where you start by changing your body's physical state first to then influence your emotions and thoughts. So what if one of the most powerful bottom-up tools we have wasn't something you had to think about at all? What if the key wasn't in your head, but in your ears? That's what we're digging into today. And that brings us to this fascinating field called listening therapy. It's an approach that, you guessed it, uses sound to communicate directly with our nervous system. So what is it really? Well, at its core, listening therapy uses specifically modified, filtered music to help create real, lasting changes in how our brain and body work together. It's not just about background music for relaxation. It's about actively retraining our internal systems from the ground up. So why is this catching on? Well, the reasons are pretty compelling. These kinds of therapies are super low risk, they're non-invasive, you're just listening to music, and they're often way more accessible and affordable. Plus, they work beautifully alongside other kinds of therapy. Okay, so how on earth does listening to music actually do all of this? Let's geek out for a minute on the science, because it is pretty incredible. It all boils down to that deep connection between our brain and our body. First up, we have to talk about neuroplasticity. This is just a fancy word for the brain's amazing ability to change and rewire itself. And this is the key takeaway. Your brain is not set in stone. It's more like software you can update, and sound turns out to be a really powerful way to do that. And that rewiring has a direct line to your body's main control panel, the autonomic nervous system. This thing runs in the background, managing your heart rate, your breathing, your digestion, and, you guessed it, your stress response. Listening therapies help gently guide the system back to a state of balance. And the main player in all this, the star of the show, it's the vagus nerve. The easiest way to think about it is as a huge information superhighway, sending constant signals back and forth between your brain and all your major organs. It's the direct line we can use to send those "it's okay, you're safe" signals to the rest of the body. And this all circles back to one fundamental human need. Dr. Stephen Porges, who is a giant in this field, put it perfectly. He said his hope is to highlight the important role of feeling safe. Because without that biological sense of safety, we just can't heal, we can't learn, and we can't connect with others. It's the foundation for everything. Okay, so that's the science. It's amazing stuff. But let's bring it back down to earth. What does this actually look and feel like when you do it? Honestly, it can look as simple as this: someone just chilling out, listening to some music on headphones. But what they're hearing is way more complex and targeted than your average Spotify playlist. This music has been scientifically engineered. Here's the secret sauce. The music is specially filtered to emphasize the frequencies you'd find in a calm, melodic human voice. See, our nervous systems are hardwired from birth to hear those specific tones and subconsciously think, okay, we're safe, we're with our people. It's basically a non-invasive way to tell your body, on a level below conscious thought, that it's safe to power down the alarm system. All right, that's the how, but the million-dollar question is, does it actually work? Well, this is where the data gets really, really exciting. Let's look at the results. First up, anxiety. Take a look at this. This chart tracked 752 people who went through a 5-hour listening program called the Safe and Sound Protocol. The lines show their anxiety scores before and after. You don't need to be a data scientist to see that massive drop. Let's put a number on it. Get this, a whopping 85% of the people who did the program saw a clear improvement in their anxiety symptoms. 85%. And we're not talking about a tiny little shift. On average, their scores fell from the high severity range all the way down into mild severity. That is a night and day difference in someone's daily life, achieved just through structured listening. And it's not just anxiety. We see a very similar, powerful story when we look at trauma. This chart tracks 390 clients, measuring their trauma-related symptoms before and after the same protocol. And again, the results are just dramatic. The magic number here is an average improvement of 16.3 points on the standardized scale. Now, if you're not familiar with that scale, trust me, a 16-point drop is huge. That represents a massive weight being lifted off someone's shoulders. It's a real, measurable shift away from just surviving and toward actually feeling stable and safe. And really, that's what this is all about. It's about helping our own biology move out of that constant draining state of defense, that fight, flight, or freeze mode, and into a state where feeling safe, connecting with others, and just, well, feeling good finally becomes possible again. So, I'll leave you with this to chew on. What if the future of mental wellness isn't just about what we say, but also about what we hear? It's a profound idea that maybe, just maybe, some of our deepest healing can happen from the bottom up.